direct my questions to Attorney Hua. Apart from your service to the Vice President as a spokesperson, you were once her Chief of Staff, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Attorney
You were-
Hua.
Mr. Chair. Sorry. Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
you were
Yes, Your
Chief
Honor,
of
that's
Staff
correct.
when she was the Secretary of DepEd.
For a time, not for the entire duration, Your Honor, but on the latter time. I started April 2023, Your Honor.
Up to when? What
Until
time did
July
you-
19 when she resigned.
So
from-
a portion of the discussion of the confidential funds, when it was brought out in the open, you were then still the
Yes,
Chief
Your
of Staff of the Vice President when
Yes,
she
Your
was also still the Secretary of DepEd.
Yes, Your
right?
Honor. Mr. Chair.
You heard about the testimonies of your fellow guests here, right? And they were mentioned about the sobre and the gifts. And I'm just wondering, was there any point in time that such bigayan sobre was when it was happening? What as a Chief of Staff, I presume that part of your job is the in and outs of the office of the Vice President, any memoranda, etc. I would just like to know, Mr. Chair,
Well,
to your knowledge, do you have any, or would you know, for example, that such gifts are being given? Let's presume, no, assuming without conceding that there's in fact given, no, out of the good heart, no? Was there any point in time that you were made to also understand that this may be a regular process, that the Vice President is really giving out gifts to sobre to the employees of DepEd?
Mr. Chair.
Where were you when all of this are happening?
Yeah. Mr. Chair, again, I'm under oath. Hindi ko po alam na may ganyang pupunta sa office, binibigyan ng envelope. Perhaps I need to contextualize and give you an idea of the working relationship back in DepEd then. In DepEd, I think anyone who's worked with the Vice President would know that the way she does things, it's highly compartmentalized, no? So, for example, I may be in the same office as my ASEC, who was then ASEC Fajarda, but we had totally separate duties. So what does that mean? It means that she takes care of the OSEC proper because she was already HEA even before I came in as Chief of Staff. She was already HEA, no? So when I came in as Chief of Staff, the duties that were assigned to me was basically the day-to-day of DepEd. So meaning I would hold cluster meetings with the USECs on a weekly basis. My primary marching order was to deliver on the Matatag agenda. And perhaps, looking at it now, in a very direct manner, perhaps that's also why I was never really briefed on how confidential funds were being operationalized, on how, perhaps that's why even when I came in as Chief of Staff, I was not made STO or signatory or anything. The only time I can honestly say that I encountered looking into the reports of confidential funds was when we were already issued an AOM. And at that time, I was also not just Chief of Staff, but I was OIC Finance. And so it was within my purview to address and respond to the AOM. I know it is very hard to maybe fathom or imagine na bakit hindi mo alam tong mga ganito. But I think anyone in DepEd and my DepEd family is here, they would know how compartmentalized we were at that time. In fact, coming into these congressional hearings, and to be very honest with you, sir, Mr. Chair, kung pwede ko lang sagutin yung confidential funds, Your Honor, gusto ko na sagutin. Kasi I've been defending DepEd since day one as the spokesperson in July 2022. So to be honest, if I could just defend DepEd now, defend the Vice President even, I would. But that's why I came here. When they ask me anything, minsan sabihin pa nga sa akin, why did you admit, why did you, but that's the truth. And I just want to be here and tell the truth. Ngayon, pag hindi ko talaga alam, I would say hindi ko talaga alam. And
Okay.
Sorry for the long
yes, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Let me ask Ms. Catalan. Ms. Catalan, when this when these envelopes were given to you, was it, did you also, were you made also understand that this is done in secretly or is just magandang ano lang, it's a regular binibigay lang na parang allowance lang, pang-gift lang, or may impression ba na wag mong sabihin, sa'yo na muna ito, or ganon?
Wala po, Your Honor.
So, ibig sabihin, talagang hindi siya sinesekreto.
Basta, Your Honor, papatawag ka lang sa office.
Papatawag ka sa office, pero alam mo na hindi lang ikaw yung nakakatanggap.
I'm not aware, Your Honor.
But you are aware that there are also others who may also be receiving the same allowances, as you may call it.
Siguro nasa isip ko lang na I'm not the only one, pero I didn't bother to know kung sino pa, or I didn't, because I was discreet lang siya.
So discreet siya.
Opo.
So
Your
ibig
Honor.
sabihin, there was never any instance where ka-close mo sa opisina, nagsabi rin na, uy, naka-receive din ako ng the same.
Wala po, Your Honor.
So it was done secretly. Would you say so?
Secret, discreet nga lang po siguro kasi wala akong alam, Your Honor.
Okay, sige. So, ibig sabihin, Mr. Chair, I'd like to, again, follow up your question. Gusto ko lang malaman, no? So, you said that your task really is being compartmentalized, that you have never any way of knowing that this, is that what you're trying to make this committee understand, that as a Chief of Staff, there was never any moment or any, like for example, any instance where there was really that information or knowledge? Kasi taken from the explanation of Ms. Catalan, allowance to, it's not something irregular. Parang ganun yung pagkaintindi niya eh. Hindi naman siya dapat sekreto or although discreetly binibigay sa kanya pero ang understanding niya is galing pala sa personal money ni Vice President. So hindi dapat siya sekreto. So are you telling this committee that in the span of your tenure as a Chief of Staff, you have never heard anybody, or at least with your co-workers, saying that there's an allowance from the good heart of the Vice President giving out for these employees?
Mr. Chair, if there was...
Please continue.
If there was an instance, Your Honor, that I would say maybe pumasok sa utak ko na may nabigyan, it was probably nung 2022 December because it was meant to be parang a Christmas, no?
Yeah, but that's already, sabi ni Ms. Catalan, that's regular bonuses. But we're talking about these,
But throughout the envelopes, I can honestly say walang ibang USEC or Ms. Runa. I can honestly say I just found out today also. So walang ganyang usapan eh. Hindi nagkakaroon ng, walang lumapit sa akin na nagtanong man lang kung ako ba may natanggap or them narrating to me na sila may natanggap sila. To be perfectly honest with you, wala talaga akong narinig eh.
Because as a Chief of Staff, it's, to me, as a Chief of Staff, because you're appointed as a Chief, so big sabihin, trust and confidence is everything, di ba? Kasi ikaw, before it reaches your principal, everything should be, everything should be a course through as a Chief of Staff through you, no? It's, for me personally, Mr. Chair, I find it very hard to understand, although I'm not trying to debunk your statement here, Attorney Pua, but to me, we all are government employees and we know how the administrative processes have been going. So, it's, for me personally, I think it's kind of difficult for you not to be able to understand and at least have a grasp on what is happening inside your office, knowing that you are not only the Chief of Staff, but you're also the spokesperson for the Department of Education, Mr. Chair. And though you may not know, but a lot of your co-workers in the department, co-employees in the department have already come out saying the same thing. But if we use the same argument or the statement of Ms. Catalan, na discreet pinamimigay, ilan yung lumabas na? Ibig sabihin, kung 4 na ba sila, Mr. Chair, o 5? 4 yung lumabas na same testimony saying that they have received envelopes. Ibig sabihin, kung discreetly, kung the same manner of releasing, ibig sabihin, there's no way for them to really make up some stories. But they came out with the same narrative and the same stories. Yun lang yung gusto kong ipaintindi, no, Mr. Chair. Do you have what's your thought on that?
Mr. Chair, may I respond? I respect your view, sir. Like I mentioned earlier, Mr. Chair and Honorable Congressman, if I were in your shoes, I would also find it hard to believe, hindi ba? And that's why I had to put it in context, no? I did not know the Vice President till the day I was hired as her spokesperson in July. I wasn't with her prior. So perhaps there are things that's why I said it was compartmentalized. Perhaps there were things that are not shared with everyone, are not shared with me, are shared with me, but are not shared with others either. Perhaps that's the only way I can even fathom it, no? But definitely operationally, which means policy, which means whatever happens in DepEd, I can honestly say that really goes through me. But on why they are naming ASEC Sunshine as the one giving the envelope, I really do not know. And even if you were to ask me now, I wouldn't even dare
What's
ask.
what's the task of Attorney Sunshine pala, if I may ask?
As far as I know, she was the head EA even before I joined DepEd, Your Honor. So, in fact, she was the one who interviewed me when I applied for DepEd. And then my last interview was the Vice President, and that was the day that I met the Vice President for the first time, when I was offered the job of spokesperson. And I remained to be a spokesperson from July 2022 to around April 2023. So just to give you a background on all this, because I can definitely understand, Your Honor, the sentiments of the good congressman on parang medyo weird, no? Chief of staff ka, bakit di mo alam ang lahat ng nangyayari? In fact, it's a bit embarrassing for me to also admit na hindi ko alam lahat ng nangyayari. But it's really the way it is. Things are compartmentalized even from day one. So even as spokesperson, when may balita and I need to get to an interview, honestly, I have to message, no, with the Vice President at that time to find out every time on what she wants me to say during the interview. At least just to give you a picture, Your Honor, on how it was.
Okay, thank you. Just I guess manifestation in closing, Mr. Chair. Narinig naman natin ilan yung lumabas na po dito sa committee na the same yung kanilang sinabi, na nakareceive po sila ng envelopes, no? At hindi ho nila ma-explain kung saan lang gagaling itong mga envelopes na ito. May iba sinasabi gift, may isa sinasabi it's a form of persuasion, but whatever they call it, it's something irregular. It does not happen regularly, no? Pangalawa, yung apat na po, kung tatanungin sa katanungan, sa kasagutan po ni Ms. Catalan, ang sabi po niya, tinatawagan po sila individually, binibigay sa kanila. I think the same story also we've heard from the rest of our invitees who said also the same thing, no? Ibig sabihin po, hindi ho sila pinag-uusapan itong apat na ito, hindi nila napag-usapan, meaning to say they've done the individual na binibigay sa kanila. So it's impossible for these individuals who came out saying the same thing to make up stories na pare-pareho po ang kanilang sinasabi. Ang point ko lang po dito, Mr. Chair, is if it's done discreetly, secretly, there's something really the act really in the giving out of these sobres must be really in question, Mr. Chair. Yun lang pong aking manifestation, Mr. Chair, at marami pong salamat. Thank you, Attorney Puwa, for giving us a background.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Congressman Acop, you're recognized.
I would just like to follow up the question of the Honorable Adiong. Yusek Puwa, ang sabi po nyo, hindi kayo nakatanggap ng envelope. Did I hear it right?
Mr. Chair, nakatanggap po ako pero hindi envelope mula kay VP mismo occasionally, no? And I can try to cite the occasions if you would want me to.
Yung envelope, kagaya ni Madam Catalan.
I was never called to ASEC Shine's office, for the record, to receive an envelope. I don't know why, to be honest.
Thank you. Asek Monsayak, have you received also an envelope? Just
Good
like
afternoon.
Madam Catalan?
Good afternoon,
Asik
Mr. Chair
Monsayak,
and
you're
Your Honor.
recognized.
May I answer, Your Honor?
Yes, please.
Your Honor, I never received any envelope from ASEC Shine Fajarda or the Vice President. Never, Your Honor. And if you will recall the testimonies of the persons who supposedly admitted that they received envelope, they started receiving February, and it ended September 2023. I only joined DepEd in October 2023, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yusek Escobedo, the same question.
Yusek Escobedo.
Mr. Chair,
Very
Your
recognized.
Honors, hindi po ako nakatanggap, but during birthday, binigyan lang po ako ng isang cash lang po for my birthday and Christmas.
Thank you. How about Yusek Memphin?
Yusek Mempin.
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Now, Madam Catalan, what makes you special, or what do you have that you would merit a 25,000 envelope, contained in an envelope? Ano pong meron po kayo?
Miss Catalan, you are recognized.
Hindi ko po masagot, Your Honor.
Kasi yung mga matataas sa inyo, ang testimony nila, hindi po sila nakakatanggap. Pero here you are, the head of the accountant division, nakatanggap po kayo. Ano po ang meron kayo that would merit na bigyan po kayo ng envelope ni Vice President?
Your Honor, yung sinabi lang po sa akin ni Sec. Shine is that a form of gratitude.
What did you do what did you do that would merit yung kuwan na yun? Na maging magpapasalamat sa iyo si Madam Fajarda or the Vice President. Ano po yung ginawa ninyo?
Maybe we're just doing our job in the accounting division, so maybe they were just very...
Naniniwala po ba kayo na sobre at pera ang award ng isang empleyado na efficient sa pagtrabaho po niya?
Maybe, Your Honor.
Huh? When you say maybe, it is being done in the department? Ganun po ba?
No, no, Your Honor, kasi
O kaya nga,
I cannot
anong
say.
meron ka na ganun ang kwan sa iyo?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, hindi ko po masasagot kung ano ba meron.
Kasi ako, ang tingin ko, dahil ikaw ang head ng accounting division, kagaya ng maging head ng budget o mga head ng treasurer, it is your position. Kasi yung liquidation at saka clearing, dumadaan palagi sa inyo sa inyong mga opisina. Di ba? At no matter how you look at it, marami pong kalokohan sa liquidation at saka use of funds. Di po ba?
Yung regular transaction, we ensure na lahat po ng disbursement is duly supported by documentary requirements. But again, the confidential fund is quite different and the first time that we have in the department.
Whether it's confidential or regular funds, may mga kalokohan sa liquidation. Would you agree? Kasi ang daming kaso sa ombudsman na ganyan So it's happening.
Honor, but in DepEd, basta regular transaction po, we ensure na lahat po ng transactions or disbursements are duly supported with supporting documents, and these are subject to post-audit naman po.
Hindi natin, I would ask you questions regarding the regular fund, tsaka sa procurement, but it's not the issue of the day. Ang issue kasi ngayon is the use of confidential funds. I would like to ask you that also. Pero ako, from my experience, nakikita ko na yung mga ganyan na pwesto, yun po yung nareregaluhan ng sobre either by the heads of office or by those who transact business with your office. Kasi the ombudsman cases would show that na nangyayari talaga. Hindi po ba kayo naniniwala ron?
Naniniwala po, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Congressman Nabante.
Ms. Catalan, you have been in the DepEd for 30 years, correct?
Your Honor, 36 years.
How many cabinet secretaries have you been in?
I cannot remember, but the first cabinet secretary was Secretary Isumbing.
Were you even given envelopes during those times on different secretaries?
Your
Ms.
Honor, as
Catalan?
I mentioned earlier, there was no giving of envelopes
So-
in all these years except in 2023.
So therefore, only when the Vice President was the Secretary of DepEd.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You've got to realize that those 9 envelopes has a total amount of 225,000. Am I right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Attorney Powa, do you remember receiving an envelope that has about 200,000 in it?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, no. The simple answer is no. The biggest, if I need to share,
Yes, go
probably when one time nakwento ko nga na nag-reimburse ako because of the media party, no, for just to host the media for Christmas, I was given around 20 to 25 at that time, which was, well, to be candid, lower pa than what I made abono, but who are we to diba? So, but never, not definitely not 200, not 100,000, not 50,000.
Oh, Ms. Catalan, he was an undersecretary of DepEd, the spokesperson of the Vice President, yet he has not even received, that amount of money during his time. I would even guess that Yusek Escobedo and Yusek Mempin, who have received gifts, during your birthdays and Christmas, for example, you have not received that much, have you?
No, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
No. Yusek Escobedo?
No, Your Honor.
So, hindi po ba kayo nakakahalata na Ms. Catalan na napakalaki ng natanggap ninyo for, those 9 envelopes? More than all of this USEC here that have a higher position than you have?
No, Your Honor, kasi I do not have any information or I'm not aware that nakakatanggap or sino'y nakakatanggap at hindi.
Yeah, but you are aware of the law. You are aware of Republic Act. Republic Act, ano yun? 3019, which is actually, dito sa akin Republic Act 3019, Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices. You're aware of that, isn't it? You know that, isn't it?
Yes, Your
Alam mo
Honor.
yan? Okay, wala naman So, I mean, dapat nakikita na natin ngayon yan kung paano. That's the reason why I'm asking you na I would even guess that those envelopes you received were a form of pressure on your part to sign. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair.